Hi guys, this is Kirk from the Chat In. Just before we start this week's episode, just want to give a little warning. We are talking about men's mental health, and although not graphic, we do discuss suicide. Thank you.
Evening, boys.
Evening, Sally. Welcome to the Chat In, your local pubcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the other Mark. 3 pints, Sally. And what are you having?
See if you do a glass of milk.
Cheers. I'll fetch him over.
Evening, boys.
Evening,
Rob. How are we doing?
All right, you all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Did you finish your garage yet?
It's done. It's finished.
Hey!
Done.
Finished.
Completely finished. All done.
Have you retired now then?
That's it, me done. I mean, I say it's done. I mean, obviously I didn't do it. It was my nephew that did it, but it's done.
Well, that's one thing off your chest, isn't it?
Well, that's
Yeah,
the only thing. That's the only thing he had on his list this year. To get his garage. So
Hang on. I do need 2 more shelves though. So it's not. Really
So it's not
done.
finished.
Well, it's done, but it's done in his eyes. But then I've gone. I need some more shelves. You know what I'm like.
Have you labelled it all?
Yes, apart from these 2 new shelves.
Keeping
that I
these
need.
little truths up your sleeves and start calling you Rishi Sunak.
It's 99.9% done.
Brilliant.
well
So I'm-
done.
so I'm happy.
Well done.
Well done. Thank you. I'll take all the credit. So
Well done.
thank you.
Well, you have anyway. Kirk, you been up to?
Bitten and bobbing. I actually went for a... Mark pulled me out on...
Me?
No, trust me, the other one. Pulled me out on a walk over the weekend. Yeah. Where did we go? Backtor, Mamtor.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so
Where?
we did Backtor, Lucille and Mamtor.
Was it in
did-
this country or did you go to France or
That's in the
something?
Peak District.
Sorry, Backtor.
Yes.
Backtor and Mamtor.
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of Backtor.
Yes. Well, you were invited and you never replied.
No, I did.
Yes.
I did reply.
No. You
Oh, working.
Did I reply?
No.
No, I did.
Rob did reply. But
So-
I'd love to, but I'm on nights.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I must have been busy
Oh.
that day.
I mean, we weren't walking through the night, so I'm not quite
No.
sure what his excuse
Yeah.
were. But
Next time I'll take you.
But going back to it, I've heard of Mamtor, but Backtor, I'd never
Yes.
heard of that.
next to it.
I won't ruin the surprise.
Oh, okay.
so I said to Mark, I said, you know what? I'd love to get back out walking again, absolutely. But please remember, it's been a while since I've done it. I'm struggling with my knee a little bit. Mark's like, don't worry, we're all, we haven't done it for a while. We'll take it steady. It'll be a steady walk up. All right, well, as long as I'm not going to slow you down. No, don't be silly. It's absolutely fine. So off we went, and then we pulled up into this farmer's field. This farmer says, oh, I tell you what, you need to go down this path and up this path. And so Mark says, oh, we'll try that. We've never done it before. However, I did not need a Gurkha guide. I have no idea.
An air ambulance.
And then, honestly...
Was it that bad?
Oh, just the gradient. So I was ready for a walk, don't get me wrong, and I knew it wouldn't be easy. It's not. But the gradient that we went up the side... We'll put it this way. We went from bottom to top within 30 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, okay.
And that's taking it easy, apparently.
We've done the walk, a very similar walk. It's the same route apart from the initial ascent. We've done that before, but it's a longer, slower ascent. This was very steep and
Like
straight.
that.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, it were a lot shorter, so as you can appreciate, it was steeper.
Did you need rock climbing equipment for it?
No,
Was it that
no,
bad?
no.
But it wasn't easy, put it that way. Well, they found it easy. I certainly didn't find it easy.
I like the fact that the next day I put a text message on the group asking how the picnic was.
No, it certainly weren't a picnic. By the time I got to the top, I'd already said I'm like 2/3 of the way up, and Mark's obviously already at the top, and there were another peak to actually get to the top of Backtor, and I'm looking at that, I'm like, I'm going to struggle just to get up this side of it. So I shouted up to Mark, I said, look, you carry on, because I know that they walk over there and then walk back and retrace the steps. I'm like, you carry on, I'll sit there and wait for
Carry
you.
on, leave me behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave me,
Keep going,
leave.
keep
Save
going.
yourselves, don't worry about me, I'll die here.
So Mark said, all right. He went off, I got to the top, sat down, tried to catch my breath, and I kept looking at the top of this peak, like where it went. I'm like, it won't take you long to get up there. Get yourself up, get yourself to the top. So I stood up and I got myself to the top, and I was happy that I did. Do you know what I mean? I was happy that I got to the top, but then obviously...
You got to come back down.
Well, they'd already walked on then to Loose Hill, which is another one further on. So I started walking that way, but then I caught them walking back. So I turned around, walked back, down... it's like kind of down Backtor and then on to Mamtor, is it?
And then across the Great Ridge.
Yeah, so anyway, I burnt 1,700 calories.
Wow.
So
How many steps did you do?
14,500 steps.
Good effort, that, mate.
So yeah, I was quite chuffed, but Yeah, it was it was a grueler, but fundamentally, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy getting back out into the sunshine, out into the
well done, mate.
out into the outdoors.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
So what about you, Rob? What about you?
Do you know what? I've had a very plain week. I've been working.
Oh, okay.
Done a bit of
Right.
overtime and I've been working. So honestly, nothing from me this week, I'm afraid, boys. What about you, Mark?
Well, mine's been a bit of an up and down week. Well, other than the walking, obviously.
That was
quite
very up and
literal.
down.
Very up and
It's
down.
been quite a somber week for us because we lost our last remaining pet dog, Toby, this
okay.
week.
Oh.
Yeah,
Sorry to hear that, mate.
Yeah, we had to take him to vets for last time, which were quite sad and it really, really hard. You know, coming back home and the house being empty and stuff. So that's been quite a difficult week. And that sort of leads me on to a special guest that we've got. So I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago we touched on a men's mental health charity called Andy's Man Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well, tonight we've got a special guest from the Rotherham branch of Andy's Man Club, Richard Gaynor. Evening, Richard.
Good evening, how you doing? All right?
Good, thank you,
Richard.
Richard. Let's kick things off then in the traditional form. How's your week been?
It's been nice and chilled. I've had no work this week, so yeah, just done a few jobs around the house and potter about.
What is it you do, Richard?
I work in a plumber's merchant, but I actually work from home instead of being in branch, so best of both worlds is good.
So, what's the backstory with Andy's Man Club then, Richard? How did it all begin?
Well, just over 8 years ago, a young lad called Andy Roberts took his own life in Halifax, only 23-year-old. And it come out of blue, really. No one really expecting it. Never showed any signs of depression or, and out like that, like, we're going to take his own life. But I don't suppose we ever do we? And basically, his brother-in-law and his mum got together to create what then called Andy Roberts Coffee Club, just to try and get guys to come together and talk. Because I realised that as guys, we don't talk very much. 9 people rocked up to that first group. It's changed its name since then because obviously Andy's Man Club sounds a bit better. And this week we've had 200 groups open up and down the country and 4,500 blokes coming through to us.
Wow,
That's
200.
incredible. So such a sad situation like that, and they've created a fantastic legacy.
Yep. Yeah, and they've probably saved a few lives going along as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably saved more than a few, especially up and down the UK. And this is the thing, isn't it? At the moment, that mental health is so prevalent at the moment, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, I mean, some people like media and stuff like that say that we're in a mental health crisis. And I think that especially when we talk about men and we're talking about Andy's Man Club, we're talking about men speaking, men's mental health has got such a stigma attached to it, and people opening up, and it really does affect across the world, but across the UK definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I was obviously being the researcher of the group and knowing Richard was coming on. I had looked into this.
He's been
Googling it. Yeah, and honestly, there was a mental health statistics for 2024, and this was only done in February of this year. In the UK, the term "how to reduce stress" is searched on Google once every 10 minutes on average.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot, isn't it? And I know stress isn't necessarily like the biggest of all the mental health issues, but it then continues to say more women say they struggle with poor mental health than men, with 18.5% of women stating that their mental health is currently either bad or the worst it's ever been, compared to 12.5% of men. Men are nearly twice as likely to describe their mental health as being excellent, 13.5% of men versus 7.5% of women. But while men are likelier to rate their mental health positively than women are, men continue to account for 3/4 of suicides in the UK. It continues to be difficult in many cases for both men and women to talk about their mental health concerns, but finding it more difficult to talk about their mental health well-being is something that affects men more than women. This is often attributed to the fact that traditional gender roles of men expect them to be strong and stoic.
And is that what you find, Richard, in group and stuff, that you know, that there's this thing about men struggling to open up and struggling to talk about.
I mean, that sense
feelings.
of bravado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sense of
Is that where? Because this is the thing with men nowadays, isn't it? It's all about this, stiff upper lip and grow a pair.
Yeah.
You know,
man up, as they say.
and all that sort of thing, and because of that, sometimes men can feel like they can't show their emotions or they can't cry and things like that. So, is that?
It always has been,
Yeah.
hasn't it? I mean, look where we're based. So we've been surrounded by steelworks, mines, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A big industry where it's mainly blokes who don't show emotions, and there's a stigma there, isn't there? And people don't want to. They don't talk to the mates. Women will quite happily talk to each other and tell them how they're feeling. Sometimes the shit's got to it of a fan for blokes to actually do that, and sometimes it's too late. How many guys have took their own lives and no one expected it coming? It happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, we see guys coming on a Monday night and they say, I don't want to talk, I'm not talking. And that's fine, we don't put no pressure on guys to talk. So it's all about listening as well. That's another form of communication. So yeah.
Do they just take turns to talk? Is there like a format in which?
Yeah, well, every group's run exactly the same, and we have what we call a talking ball. So I run the Brinsworth group, and I start the talk off usually, or if it's not me, another facilitator does it. And when the ball comes round to you, you've got a decision to make. You can either talk or you can pass that ball on. Either way, there's going to be no judgment on you, because especially that first night you come, getting through that door is pressure for you, and it's hard work for you, and you don't particularly want to speak in front of a load of strangers. But ironically, talking to strangers is easier than talking to your partner or your mum and dad or whoever, because you're scared of being judged. In that room where we are, sounds a bit harsh this, but once we've done a meeting, that's it, we've done. And we'll meet again next Monday. We don't go out tickle tackling and saying, oh, such and such has done this, because we don't even need to know your full name. We don't know you, so there is no stigma in that room, because we're all there for that same reason.
That's the problem sometimes, isn't it, as well? If you were to tell someone, like sometimes your closest friends or a family member, they can't unhear it. They can't once they know, they know. And they know. And so sometimes if you're speaking to an absolute stranger, you've no worry that they're going to find out, and you've no worry that you've got to always remember, they know that thing about me. When you've moved forward from it, or later on, it's so I get that.
We get some guys who come into different groups who live elsewhere in Rotherham, or wherever. So they might live in Rotherham, go to a Sheffield group because they don't want people to necessarily.
Yes.
And that's fine. Yeah. That's there's no problems.
Yeah.
I just took the decision to be totally honest about my own problems and my own concerns and my own mental health. And if I can help one guy to get the same kind of help what I've had, then that's a win.
And would you mind sharing your story? So what brought you into Andy's Man Club?
Well, it goes back probably about 10 years or such. This probably a bit longer than that, to be fair. So I've suffered with grief a lot. My mum died when I was 19. So obviously, quite young with that. I lost my gran, and she was a big influence in my life. Then I got married, and I just started with a bit of depression. But I was just kind of masking the fact of that, and I didn't particularly understand what I was going through. I just kind of put myself into work and work and work and work, and just doing long hours. Being the big man, providing for family. Then I found my dad dead, and that just totally knocked me for six. And again, it was all grief, and I don't know if I actually let myself grieve for my dad because I was too busy chucking myself into work and just doing that, you know, providing for family. But
Was that like a coping mechanism, do you think?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, just, you know, yeah, just masking it, you know, not actually fessing up to my own problems and saying I'm struggling with this. I just hid myself away, and then, you know, I'd come home from work and then still sit in car, not wanting to go in house for some, you know, some reason, going in house and still feeling so lonely. So like when I lost my dad, I worked in Nottingham at the time, so I'd got an hour's drive. So that night, you know, I'd ring him every night without fail. So at least I got that chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you've lost that.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, it killed me, that. It really did knock me for six. And then 18 months I made an attempt to, well, I went out to end my life. Didn't obviously do it because I'm sat here, so that's, you know, results, so that's good. And then a few months after that, my wife left me. And that, although the marriage hadn't been good for a while, that was a moment when I thought, you know what, I've got to do something for myself here. So I'm not going to say Andy's Man Club has saved my life, because there's a lot of factors what I've done in me. You know, I've had to get off my own ass and do something, because, you know, unfortunately the NHS is under severe pressure. I'm not going to sit here and slag them off, because you know, some of them do a fantastic job, but they are under pressure. But I lived in a town where I've got no mates really. I still do, and I took the decision to just go to an Andy's Man Club because I got naught to lose, and I went, and I just found a community where I was safe to say what I wanted to say without any judgment, and realising that I'm not the only kid what's lost parents, I'm not the only kid what's lost a marriage, I'm not the only kid what's had depression and stuff like that, because there's other guys in that room what are going through something similar, and it grounded me, it settled me down.
So would you say when you went in, it wasn't what you expected it to be?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect, because I'd done no homework on it. I needed to go and do something, so I just went.
Where had you heard about it?
I just seen the post on Facebook, and I thought, I've got to do something. I can't just sit here on my arse. And
Did you, when you first went, Richard, did you think that, were you doing it because you thought, well, it's a group of guys getting together, but did you honestly think that it might help you, or did you think, were you just going along to go, well, I'll give it a try, it's not worth anything? Well,
do you know what? I didn't really go along with any
preconceptions.
Yeah,
Okay, you just,
I just thought
Yeah.
I've got to do something. Like I said, my GP didn't really do out. You know, I had to do something. I'd had some support from my workplace. I managed to get a bit of therapy from them, and I thought, yeah, that's all well and good, but I'm talking to a screen here. It weren't even a one-to-one therapist. It was just online.
really? Okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
you know what? So, I thought some of it is a late load of crap. Some of it, I picked up a load of light bulb moments.
oh, okay.
And when you pick them, I took that light bulb moment away and thought I worked on that bit. But it's the loneliness what I was scared of.
Okay. Yeah.
And I got no to lose, so I just went along to Andy's Man Club, and like I said, I went in and I struggled to talk, so I was crying that much, and I just got sat down by a kid called Simon. He's at Cisco group now, he runs that, and he just says, you found his Man Club? I went, yeah, I just need help. And we just had a chat, and we just, like I said, we had that meeting, started at 7, and I went out, it didn't cure my problems, they were still there, but I just felt a little bit more calmer because I knew there's other guys in that room what's going through similar shit what I've been going through.
Did you feel like a weight had been lifted off your shoulders when you were able to voice, obviously, what you've been carrying for what seemed like a long time?
Yeah, I mean, that first night I didn't... You don't drop all the bombs at once. Well, I didn't, you know what I mean? I was struggling. I was still struggling with wife leaving me. That killed me. But that were... It was just nice to know that I've got some guys there who, you know, they don't know me from Adam, but they've got me back. Weird, absolutely weird, but I just got that vibe. It was a good place, so I went again week after, and then week after that, and I've not missed a week since.
And do you think it also helps listening to other people's issues as well? So, like, I know every problem's like relative, if you like, but sometimes having that thought or that hearing somebody else is either going through it or maybe even going through something worse, for the want of a better term, that you know, gives you a bit of...
It's perverse, really, sometimes, because we have a set formula, shall we call it, and I can go with probably smallest problem in the world, but no matter what your problem is, it's your problem, and therefore it's big to you.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. And I remember it one night. It's all confidential, so I can't. You know, I'm not going to tell you what the actual thing was. But I had a moan, and it was about, in the big scheme of things, absolutely nothing. And then two seats away, there's a guy there who's got life-changing stuff going off. You know, not good life-changing stuff, by the way, but awful. And he's still managing to have a smile and a laugh, and he's getting on with it, and it puts it into perspective. It grounded me and humbled me, and I thought, you know what, Rich, you have a cook in your steak is not a massive problem. You know what I mean? That poor sod's going through it, and you're moaning about burning your steak, so...
And I think that's the thing sometimes. I think that's one of the struggles, isn't it? That when we talk about mental health in general, that when you've got something weighing heavy or something negative that's happening around you, sometimes it's really difficult to pick out the positives, isn't it, in life?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll always remember that going back a few years, and I was struggling a bit. I was struggling with, I would say, in hindsight, looking back now, it was a mental health issue or something I was struggling with, you know, finance and stuff as always, but it got to a point where it was all consuming. You know, it was always on my mind, it was always there, it was stopping me sleeping, it was, you know, it made me feel like a failure, it made me feel like I was letting people down, it made, you know, and it really weighed heavy. I remember walking through Leeds at the time, and it were middle of winter, walking through, and I just happened to look in this doorway, and there was obviously a guy laid there in a sleeping bag and covered with like cardboard, you know, obviously homeless guy, and it just all of a sudden hit me, or just that one moment hit me, on a sense of, do you know what? Yeah, you've got stuff going off, and like you say, they are problems, and they are problems, and they seem big to you, absolutely, but there were just that little thing that went into the back of my head that go, do you know what? That guy there would swap places with me in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He would swap places. You know, yes, I might have got all this going off, but I've got a roof over my head. I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got a healthy family. You know, I know where my next meal's coming from. You know, and I'm not saying that means that my problems were irrelevant, but it just made me think about what positives I'd got in my life. It just made me think about, and I think sometimes that's the hard thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
To search in dark times, or in low times, to try and search for that positivity, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes that could be just that little thing that you need to, you know, okay, well, you know, it's not all bad. It's not all bad.
Yeah. No. I mean, I remember when it's going back quite a few years back now, when I worked in Carphone Warehouse, and I remember splitting up with an ex, and really, when I think back about it now, I think we weren't even together that long. It didn't even seem like it were a big deal. But at the time, it threw my anxiety, and I haven't suffered with anxiety for years now, thankfully, in touch wood. But at that time, my anxiety was off the chart. I think it's the first time I'd ever experienced anxiety, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was going through. And I just remember all I could do was just explain or ask people questions or just talk rubbish. Probably it probably didn't even make sense what I was saying, but I think I was trying to make sense of the issue in my own head by explaining it to people that probably didn't care less, if I'm honest. But it was almost like I was being selfish by just putting myself onto them. Regardless of what problems they got going on, it didn't matter to me. And my head was so fuzzy I couldn't concentrate on anything other than my problem, and didn't really know how to get out of it other than I was just talking to everyone and anyone. But whereas when you saw that person in their situation, which was worse, when you deemed it as, hold on a minute, what have I got to worry about when this person's in this state? I don't think I was even acknowledging anything else that was happening around me. I was so fuzzy-headed, didn't really know how to process what was going on.
Just consumed your entire...
Yeah. And at the time, I didn't know, I wouldn't have known that that's classed as mental health, that because it's certainly come on a long way since then, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. And I definitely didn't know that's what it was. But looking back now, I've realised, that was a mental health issue. And, having something like Andy's Man Club, although my problem was to anyone else as minuscule, knowing that that's there and that's an option to go to is something that's brilliant.
Yeah, and that's what happens a lot. Some guys we get loads and loads of different issues going off. Guys come for different reasons. Money problems, that's way up world at the minute, isn't it? Cost of living and that, everybody's stressing about money. And then you've got things like social media and stuff like that. That is not good for people. Personally, my thoughts, it's not good for people. People are worried about health and, mental health and women problems, relationship problems, all sorts. And people might just be a little bit lonely and come to our place on a Monday night for a couple hours, get some art. That happens. Sometimes that's what I go for.
Yeah.
So when somebody walks up then for the first time and they swing the doors open and I'm making him sound like John Wayne here.
To a spittoon and spit in the bucket.
So maybe not swinging the doors open, but they
I can assure you now that no one just stands there and looks at people.
So they open the door ajar slightly. They sort of look round a little bit, sheepish. What can they expect?
Well, they don't have to open the door for first thing. We, no matter whether snowing, windy, rain, hail or what, we've got guys outside the door.
Okay.
Bringing people in, because that's the hardest bit.
Yeah, getting through the door.
Yeah, that is so hard.
Even getting out the car, I bet.
Yeah.
So you get some people that, are reluctant to come in. They get so far and think, do you know what? I can't do it.
Yeah. Sometimes you can see them just walking on the other side of pavement, on the other side of the road, and you walk and I'll see you in a few weeks, mate. Because I know you just get to. You get that vibe, you get that sense.
Yeah.
But people who come up and park up and sit in car. There's guys who have done that and come in. They've come into a group and they've admitted it that they should have done it 4 or 5 weeks ago, but they've just sat in car. Now we have what we call a sweeper, and we will go through car park. And I've done it myself, and I've seen people sat in car, and I've knocked on the window and said, "Are you for Man's Club?" Yeah. But I don't want to come in. I goes, "You come in with me then." And they come in and they get through the door. And once they're through that door, that's the hardest bit done.
Absolutely.
Because we'll make them a cup of tea. Yorkshire tea bags, by the way.
Only one type of tea bag.
Decent biscuits, but they're guaranteed a warm welcome.
Yeah.
And there's, we're not going to bombard people with questions. We're not that. We're not therapists, not counsellors, all like that. We're just blokes what's had a bit of a shit time and going through and coming out other side and just playing it forward now.
So anyone walking through the doors, they don't necessarily have to talk on the first meeting. They don't have to share their life in the first week or whatever.
Not at all. There's no pressure on anybody to talk at any time. So we don't, you don't have to register. We don't even need to know your name. If you want to say your name's Barry or whatever your name is or whatever it is, we don't care.
And is it free for you to? They don't need to register anything. It's just walk in straight
Just walk in. we don't even have charity rattling pots here, because we'd rather, like I said earlier, some people are skint. They're coming here because they've got money problems and they just need to
of course, and they don't
vent
want
it.
you saying it's £2 to get in. That's
It's it's totally free. No pot salt like that, because if you're struggling with money, we'd rather you go and get a pint of milk and a loaf of bread rather than stick a bit, feel like you've got to stick a bit of money in our pot. We don't do it for that. We do need fundraising, it's an important thing. But for me anyway, I don't give a toss about the money. It's about getting that guy through.
Just talking about money, did you get any help from the government at all? Is it all self-funded?
Yeah, just charity,
Charity.
So, I mean, we do a lot, and we get a lot of people, donating on a regular basis, and that, it's great, it's brilliant, and we get a lot of support from women. So while it's Andy's Man Club, the only thing what women aren't allowed to is 7 or 9 on a Monday night. That's man's special place. Rest of the time, and women are his biggest supporters. They really are. We have more women on this Facebook page than men.
Right.
54% of our followers on Rotherham page are women.
Do you think some of them are looking for support on behalf of their husbands or children or so on?
Yeah, we've had it a number of times where cars pulled up outside where, this club, and women are, wives or partners are dropping blokes off and saying, you're going.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of age group does it span?
Well, you've got to be 18 and older and a bloke to come.
Right.
There's no top age, so we get, in my groups, I've got guys at 19 to over 80 and everything in between.
Wow.
Still got time then, Mark, to go. You still just getting there and just under 80.
Makes a change for me not to be poking fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does make a
all
change.
angles.
Yeah.
But you must get an immense sense of achievement, knowing obviously you went there for help when you needed it, and then being able to pass that on to other people when they're sort of walking at the lowest.
I think, I won't say achievements the correct word, because it helps me while I'm out there, and I'm quite open about my issues and my shit what's gone off in my life. While I'm doing that, it helps me fight my own demons.
Right.
But there's no better reward than seeing a guy come through that door and slowly, I've seen it, and he'll come in for the first time. I'm not talking. I've got nothing to say, guys. I don't want to talk. That's all right. No problems. We're not going to think any less on you. We're not going to, we're not going to kick you out because you're not talking.
Anything,
yeah, there's no judgment. So if you don't want to talk, you don't want to talk. There's no problems with that. But when people aren't talking, they're listening. And when guys are talking about the stuff what's gone off in their lives that week and their problems, they're relating to them. So that night when I said, my wife's left me, you can see other people nodding, and before you know it, that guy who don't want to talk is realising he's in a safe space where he can talk if he wants to.
Yeah.
Right.
And they end up talking. And you can see heads coming up and shoulders raising, and the biggest buzz for me is when you see some guys going out at 9 o'clock, and it does happen. It's only 2 hours and it's mad, but they're going out a different person,
Right.
and then they're coming back, and you can see gradually, increasing confidence, and they're a better person. I look at myself at times because, 18 months ago I was there ready to end it. I went out just to end it, not to come back. And I look at myself now, and I'm a different person. And there's other guys who are better people. There's one bloke in that group who I solely put it down to him that I'm a calmer person, because he's like the voice of reason.
Right.
He's so calm, and there's so many different people in this group. You're going to pick up little bits. It's like that light bulb moment again. You're going to pick up bits off other people and think, he's right. And it just makes you a better person. It really does. It's crackers.
And I guess it also gives you a purpose as well, another purpose, doesn't it? You know, like
Yeah.
from what you've gone through, and the split up with your ex-partner, and I don't know if you're on your own now or whether you're with someone else, but in that moment where you probably were on your own, and you went there for the first time, and after a few weeks, it then starts to give you a purpose, doesn't it?
Exactly
Which
that.
was obviously what I imagine was what you was lacking some of.
You know what? I mean, sometimes I still feel like, what is my purpose in life? Because it's not a magic potion, you know. You don't just go to Man's Club for a couple of weeks and think I'm mended, because that's not life, is it?
No.
It's still shite at times, and we have bad weeks and good weeks, and you've just got to be honest with yourself and be honest with guys in group. If it's been a crap week, it's been a crap week. But you know what? Everything's a little bit temporary, isn't it? Sometimes you have some fantastic weeks. And I talk about them and all because it shows to guys when it's been... They've seen... I like a cry. I'm all right with crying in public. I try not to do it in public because it embarrasses other people. Don't embarrass me, but...
Like the Asda shop worker or something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? What do I do with this big lad? He's crying, what do I do here? But, you know, I've got a safe space on a Monday night where I can have a cry if I want to.
Yeah.
And I've done it numerous times. I'm all right admitting that. And it's real life, isn't it? You've just got to be honest with yourself, and it's real.
Yeah. And especially when you're opening up to that degree, it's quite easy to become overcome with emotion, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, you're talking about real issues, what's affecting you, and stuff what's hurt you. But you got to talk about it.
It's quite interesting that you said that as well, Richard. That you also share good things as well. So it's not all. You know, if you haven't had a bad week, for instance, it doesn't mean that you don't go. You know, if you've had a good week, or you've had something, you know, something's positive happening in your life, or something good's happening in your life, you know, people still go and share them good news stories as well. You know, to help lift people as well.
Yeah, because it just shows that it's not all crap, is it? It's not. We do have. I'd like to think it goes down in circles, doesn't it? You know what I mean? You're going to have good times as well as bad times, because that's just the nature of the beast. Them good times, you've got to shout about them good times, and not to rub it into other people, obviously, because in that group you have a full range of emotions.
Yeah.
You can go from, I've done it myself, Christ, I've done it myself, where I've cried, and then 5 minutes after I'm having a laugh.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way it is. We don't sugarcoat stuff. We're not brutally harsh or like that, but we're just honest.
And it shows as well that although you felt this way, you then when you do have something good to say, it shows then people that actually, you know, look, they've seen where you were X amount of weeks ago, and now you're absolutely, you know, completely different in your approach to that week. Do you know what I mean? And they see that and say, "Wow, I saw him 3 weeks ago, and he were really down there, and now he seems up there."
Well, yeah, it's literally like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, like Richard, as you know, we know Richard's story now. So obviously, you know, Richard's story is, you know, bad time in his life, and he's still there every Monday, and people can, you know, because Richard shares his story with these other men, so they can see, look, this is where Richard was, and look where Richard's now. Yeah, okay, he has his bad days and stuff, but generally your life now, Richard's pretty okay, you would say, compared to how it was.
Yeah, I mean,
so you share these stories with these other men. These other men can see there's hope. There's that light at that end of the tunnel, basically, isn't there?
Yeah, and you know, like I say, it's just calmed me down. So I try not to worry about stuff I can't control anymore.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's just wasted energy. So yeah, you know, I spend a lot of time on my own, and I've always been absolutely petrified of being lonely. And sometimes it still happens. But I'm not lonely on a Monday night.
And just do more meetings, Richard, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, well,
do
this
one
is
every
why I do
night.
so much. But it's, you know, guys are seeing that. It's just be honest to yourself. And we had a guy here Monday night just gone, and it was brilliant. It was, you know, he's had his own issues, and he come out and he says, he was just honest with himself. I need to do this. This has gone off. I could see this was coming, and I've not done something bad. I've held myself together and done something good, not so it's not affected me in a negative way. And I'm like, you're on first rung already, aren't you? Well, you're on second rung because you've realised that you know your triggers, you know what not to do and what to do, and two, you've got through that door and you're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're already making them steps
You're on
up.
that journey, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it's hard, isn't it, sometimes, because you can, when you're in a dark place, you're having a rough time of it. You see all the negatives, and you feel like you're on a bad run, and it's one thing after another after another. Something positive happens, you dismiss it because all you can see is the negatives around you, can't you? And you need, I suppose, that's where that support network comes in. That says, actually, just stop focusing on the negative. Look at that. What you've done this week or this year. Something to be proud of. And I suppose it's having that, the people around you to remind you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is exactly that. Yeah.
So as a facilitator, then you run the club on a Monday night. So what does that mean? What do you mean that you're how is it run? I suppose is what I'm trying to ask for. Like, is there a structure? Is there a format? Why does it need a facilitator? I suppose is what I'm saying.
I'm a facilitator, but that only means I open the door and shut up and ask questions. That's it. So it certainly don't make me any better than anybody else because I'm not. We're all exactly when we're in that room, we're all on level.
Yep.
No matter whether we've had some groups with professional sportsmen, CEOs of companies, and guys who are unemployed and don't do well. Everybody's on the same level. There's no egos about like that. Every group runs exactly the same. So 200 groups up and down country, one online, and they run exactly the same. So 7 o'clock, doors open at 6:30 for a brew. 7 o'clock we all meet in room and I'll go through rules. We only have 4 or 5 rules. So everything's confidential. So we don't allow recording or note taking or out like that. We don't talk about politics or religion because
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Oh wow. We all being confidential. We ask we don't talk about criminality and stuff like that because it's what's said in the room stays in the room.
Yeah.
So every week in Brinsworth anyway, we split it into 2 rooms so the groups are a little bit smaller and the guys have a bit more time to talk. What's said in one room, other room don't know. It is that confidential. But if PC Plod comes along and that confidential unfortunately don't go to him. So we just say if what's happened to your car, talk about your feelings, not your actual doings.
Yeah.
So we don't need to, you can say someone's keyed it, I'm not very happy, that's fine. We don't need to know Derek next door's keyed my car and I've smashed his face in. We don't need no, because let's leave that out.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about medication because none of us are doctors, and even if there is a doctor in the room, he's not there as a doctor, he's there as an AMC user. Yeah. And that's about it really. And then we just get 5 questions. 3 questions stay same each week, and then the final 2 will change.
Okay. So what are them questions?
So question 1, how's your week been?
We've done that one.
We've done that. Yeah, we've done that.
Question 2, what's your positive front week?
We talked about positives a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. What's your positive?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I've just had a fantastic weekend. Probably one of... Yeah, I've been to a dance, like a rave thing, and it was just wonderful.
Yeah, we can tell.
With a look on your face.
We can tell your face, yeah.
You went to Forbidden Forest?
Yeah, Transient Woods at Derby.
Oh,
just
good grief.
Fantastic.
Is that a festival?
Good grief. It's a one-day trance event run by
right.
Good Grief. They're a dance promoter.
You ever been, Mark?
I've not been, no. But I keep seeing it popping up and it just never lands right for me. But
Sounds like
I know some
good
people
though,
that played there in an ice cream van, Mr. Trippy, in the secret spot.
Yeah, I was just right corner from that, watching Trance Wax. It was fantastic.
I bet he was.
Did you enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah, I've done more dancing I mean, I'm not built for dancing, and I've got 2 left feet. But I did more dancing in 8 hours solid than what I've done in the last 20 odd years.
Wow, you're my kind of guy, Richard.
They were good, very
Put
good.
music on, I love a dance.
Very good. Then question 3: up to get off your chest.
Well, I think Rob might have, but
Mark, have you got anything to get off your chest?
no, not really. No, nothing
no
at all.
rants.
That's unusual for you.
No, I mean I can. Well, I can think of one.
Oh, here we go.
To get off me.
There's always one.
It's only
in
a
there.
little bit. It's only a little bit.
Go on then.
Why are tins of beans always upside down?
No, that's my rant for next week. No, you know, recycling men when they come round.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in Doncaster, obviously that's who I fall under. We've got like a small green box. Right. We've got to put us glass in. Right. That's fine. But it says do not put any broken glass in it. I'm like, okay. But then the bin that they put all the glass in on the machine, it goes obviously up, and then it all smashes in the back of the in the back of the. So I'm like, well, but I can't put smashed glass out, but it smashes in the back of the lorry. What's all that about? That
Richard,
annoys me.
Have you ever had anybody at Andy's Man Club come in and that's what he wanted to
Me?
get off his chest?
Well,
I'll see him next Monday.
No, but it's got. I mean, the thing is though that anything to get off your chest, it's you know, it feeds into what we're doing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because like when we talk about this podcast, you know, and it's been mentioned before about us and being 4 blokes getting together and chatting, but pretty much that's what we do every week.
Absolutely.
We talk about all topics, and we don't always agree, do we, Mark?
No.
me.
Other one. We don't always agree, you know, but it's fine. And that reconnection of friendships and groups, but that ability of being able to say what we want and get it off his chest, it does help.
It massively does,
It
yeah.
absolutely helps.
And obviously, because we come together now, most weeks,
Yeah.
and we get to sit here and talk, but also it's not just the time that we're on the microphone, it's the time before and after we turn the mics on, that we get to be, you know, a bit more personal about what we might want to discuss. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously on the mic, we do sometimes we'll say things, but there's always times when we just want that, you know, you wouldn't want to say it over a microphone.
So there were 2 questions, and you didn't answer either of them, Kirk. So what's your positive from this week?
Well, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, getting out and starting walking again. Starting walking again. So yeah, that's my positive I would take from the week.
Mine, I've finally had time to record another YouTube video.
Oh, so that'll be
really?
next year's New Year's resolution to get that published to YouTube.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were
Yeah,
going to bring that up. But yeah, seriously, it's not very often I get time to do it, and I finally found a bit of time to record something, so now I've got something I can actually edit.
And when's this video going to come out? 2027?
Yes.
Just
Really?
No.
Just to give you a bit of context, Richard. So Rob's got a YouTube channel, and he's a videographer, and he's very good at it. He's very good at it.
Stop
if you
it.
want to
Make me blush.
yeah, if you love it. If you want to, the Big Toe, it's called on it's not, you know, TOW toe,
Yeah.
on YouTube. Give it a watch. But he is very, very good. But the problem with Rob is he's such a perfectionist. It takes him so long to edit and release the videos. So to give you an example, his most recent video was a Glastonbury video. So he went to Glastonbury when?
2023.
Last June.
So
Last
June
June.
2023, and he said, I'm going to go and do a vlog and stuff for Glastonbury. When did you release the video?
About a month and a half ago.
It took him a year to do it. I mean, it's a very good video. It's a very good
is.
video, Rob.
Yeah.
But a year. That's why his positive is he managed to record some footage.
Yeah, and it's only 60 seconds, so it's not going to take me that long to edit it. But yeah,
we'll see.
But it is a positive.
So when's it out?
I say a month.
Oh,
No
yeah,
way,
all
no
right,
way.
yeah.
No.
Maybe
no.
a month and a half. But nonetheless, it's a positive.
Moving on to the next question then. So have you got anything to get off your chest, you two?
Do you know what? I haven't actually. I don't feel as though I've got anything to get off my chest this week.
Richard, have you got anything to get off your chest?
Only that bloody Wrexham one with roadworks.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're putting a lay-by in. Why is it taking them a year to put a lay-by in?
And they're not even putting one lay-by in, they're only putting a few little lay-bys in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Roadworks are the bane of everybody's life, aren't they?
They are.
So, have you got to get off your chest, Mark? What
Well,
about
I
you?
have actually, but it's more of a plea. So this is to anybody that's possibly listening to this. Can we just chill out? So we're only here for a very short time, aren't we?
Yeah.
We might not know each other if we're passing in the street, driving past each other in our cars, but people are becoming so militant. Just chill out. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to be so argy-bargy, cutting people up and pushing past and this, that and the other. There's enough, I know there's loads of negative stuff on the media, causing division and saying that you should do this and you should do that and people are disagreeing and whatever, but come on, let's just, off the back of everything that we've been talking about today, we just need to chill out, don't we? And
Everyone just wants to argue, don't they?
Be a bit more amenable.
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Absolutely. And understand that everyone has an opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but everyone has one.
So if someone did want to go to, or feel the need to go to Andy's Man Club, where did they go to find out more information?
Well, we've got his website, which is andysmanclub.co.uk, and that has like an interactive map with your nearest group. If you can't get to a group or you don't want to go to a group, we've got an online offering as well. So just you don't need a laptop. You can do it on your mobile phone. It's just an online group what talk to each other. But they don't have to register. They don't have to book in or out like that. They just come along. There's no cost.
It sounds very accessible.
It is. It really is. And it's like you've just got to be over 18 and a bloke, and you can come in.
Well, what I'd like to say on behalf of all blokes around the country is obviously just on behalf of everybody, a massive thank you for what you're doing. I know you went in there for help yourself, the help that you're passing on to people that have needed it and have had your support, people that perhaps haven't yet taken the step to come in. The opportunity that you are helping to provide is fantastic, and I think it's highly commendable.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
I want to know the last two questions.
Well, the last two questions change every week.
All right.
We do that just to make sure everybody leaves the group with something different to think about rather than the usual 3 questions. So, last Monday night, question 4 was, what was the most valuable lesson you learnt as a child that sticks with you today?
Oh.
Yeah, it gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Well, you guys know that I'm not very good with remembering anything from my childhood from a previous podcast, so I'll struggle. So let me have a think while you guys think.
What was it? What was the question again?
What was the most valuable lesson you learnt as a child that sticks with you today?
Well, I can answer this.
Yeah.
So, the most valuable lesson learned was about friendship. So when I was younger, I was very overweight. I didn't have any friends, and I know how lonely that can feel, even at a young age. So the fact that what that taught me going through life, once I found true friendship, and I felt what that felt like, to have true friendship, I'm a very loyal person.
Yeah.
In that, and I hold friendship very, very close to my heart because I know what it's like, not to have any friends. So I do. That's something that I have took from my childhood and learned at a very early age about the actual value of friendship.
Right.
Okay. You got anything, Rob?
In my head is spinning so fast trying to think of something that I'm thinking, a valuable lesson I learnt when I was a child, and my mind's gone absolutely blank. Have you got anything?
Right, so the first one that came into my head was, don't play around with the newspaper in front of the gas fire. That honestly, don't. Unfortunately, but not many people have gas fires anymore. Anyway, but on a serious note, it's sort of similar to Kurt to some extent. I was badly bullied at school, and something that sort of stuck with me throughout my life. But as I got older, I learned to deal with it in a very, what I would consider quite a mature way. In that, when I see the people that bullied me then, today, I don't hold any grudges because they were kids. They didn't know any better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
fair comment, yeah.
some people are just like they are, and they might take that into adulthood. But my decision is, do you know what? They were probably not aware of the the effects it had on other people to the full extent, if you know what I mean. But so that's probably a lesson I took into my adult life is, looking at and dealing with people. It's taught me a lot about how people can learn and grow up.
I did learn a valuable lesson, but it's not as serious as yours.
Okay.
So I once managed to get my foot trapped in a grate. I was
Here we go.
I was charging people to go down and get the marbles from down the grate.
Hang on. Did you say charging?
Charge, yeah. Well, I was the smallest of everybody on our street, and no one could fit down the grate to get the marble. So I went down and got the marbles for
It
them.
sounds like a scene of It.
Yeah. So I'd go down and get the marbles, and on this one night, I'd got the marble out, stood, and my mum shouted from our house, "Rob, your tea's ready." And in panic, one of the lads kicked the grate to shut it. My foot was just slightly overhanging the grate, and it came down on my foot. And I needed to get my foot out, so I was ragging my foot out. I got it out and limped home. It was hurting a little bit. I got into the kitchen, took my shoe off, and I was walking through the kitchen, and my mum just screamed, "Rob." My sock was white, but it was now red, and there was blood pouring out my foot. It had pretty much ripped my nail off. It had not done it had not cut my toe or anything. It had my nail off. Anyway, within 2 days, we were going to Malta on holiday. So when we got to Malta, my dad said, "Well, they said you can't get your foot wet." So the only way I was going in my pool was by my dad putting a condom on my foot. So I had to endure a holiday wearing a condom on my foot for a week. So yeah.
So the lesson you learned
Lesson learned is don't put your foot near a grate, otherwise you end up wearing a condom on your foot when you're on holiday.
Was it ribbed for a bit of grit?
Exactly that. How did you know?
So I take it is the fifth question then just another one of them? Is it?
Yeah, the fifth question is always a quick fire one.
Okay.
And last week's was, what song has you singing or dancing along without fail?
Oh, that's a brilliant question, that.
Yeah.
For me, it's Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence.
Oh, okay. Nice. I mean, I don't dance, but any song that I'll always turn it up and always sing along to, and is Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Yeah.
So I could listen to that 1,000 times a day.
I literally dance without fail 3 to 4 times every day. I'm not joking.
Are they at set times?
Yeah.
No, not at set times, but I can guarantee, be it at work, be it at home in the kitchen, mainly at home in the kitchen, mainly when I'm on my own. But one song, and I'm not going to be able to remember it now.
Dear.
I'm not going to be able to remember the song. But any song, honestly, I could dance to any song. Be it country music, be it dance music, it don't matter what it is, some form of expression will come out of my body as I'm dancing around kitchen. But I'll work on the song. Right, I'm not sure you're a dancer, are you, Mark?
I am.
Are you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Mark dances.
Oh, I love it.
A bouncer.
I'm not very good.
Is a bouncer? Is a jump up and down?
I'm a jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Richard. I love festivals and music. So I love dancing to dance music. Prodigy will always get me jumping around, as will the Killers.
Yeah.
You know, Oasis a little bit if it's one of the rockier sort of tunes, but Bob Mead or whatever. But yeah.
And what about you, Mark?
Marlene Rudette,
What?
when the beat drops out.
All right, yeah.
Do you know it?
Yeah, I know the song.
Do
yeah,
you?
Hey, it would definitely get me dancing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Is
gets
it-
me
it-
dancing.
I'm not gonna. I'm
You
not
look
gonna
quite
sing
old
it.
for 14.
Yeah, it's a good tune. You should listen.
So that's absolutely great. I mean, I think we've ticked every box then. This
Absolutely.
session.
Yeah, I think we have.
You know, as we said before, guys, if you listen to this and you do want to reach out, by all means, you can reach out to us, and we'll get you in touch with Andy's Man Club, or we'll put all the details on the description
absolutely.
of this episode,
Yeah.
and also put it on our socials. But please, you know, if you have listened to this episode and you do think, you know, it's something that you want to find out more, as I hope you've experienced today, there's help there, and it's literally, it's not as daunting as you think, and it's about making that first step.
Yeah,
into it.
it's once you're in, it's easy.
And just to wrap up, Richard, you were talking about fundraising earlier. We had an idea a few weeks ago that we were going to hold a fundraising charity golf event. It's looking a little bit busy towards the back end of this year, so hopefully around January, February next year, we're going to hold a crazy golf charity tournament. We're going to try and get as many teams as possible together, and we're going to raise as much money as we possibly can for Andy's Man Club.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming along, and thanks again for everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now, you've done a little bit of a game with us, Richard. Do you like features?
Love it.
Oh, here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Features.
Here we go. Oh, it's spinning. What's it gonna be? Oh, I'm just so excited. Come on. He's nearly there.
The Wheel of Features.
I do love that, Rob. I'm never going to get
That's
bored.
great.
of
Well,
that.
I'll
Never
take
gonna
that
get bored of
praise.
it.
Thank you. So first off,
Yep.
we've got what the bloody hell is that?
Oh yeah, we're still going with that,
Oh,
aren't we?
right, yeah, it goes.
So, you know it already, but I'm going to play it again.
And no one's got it right yet, have they?
No one's got it right yet. So here we go. This is the sound. I'll give you one more time. So let's put it on to Richard. Any idea what that is?
Is that a symbol?
Well, it's not the right answer. No.
I'll show up.
No.
It rolls over for another week then, does
Yeah.
it?
Have you got any better ideas?
I'm not. I'm out.
No.
No,
Well, we'll roll it on to next week then.
brilliant.
So
Okay.
We need the listeners to keep firing in their suggestions, don't we?
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Play it one more time for the listeners.
Yeah, so please, somebody please get this right, so put us out of our misery.
Because we've no
Sending me
idea.
around the bend.
Time at the bar, please.
Okay, you ready then for the wheel?
Oh, we need to spin the wheel.
For this week, here we go.
What's it gonna be? Oh, it's mine! Yeah, you know what this means, don't you? It's time for Kazoo's Song Is It Anyway?
I've been waiting for this one.
And
wait.
you know something? We've got a special guest.
Yeah.
He can kick it off for us.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
the aim of this one then is normally would be me, but on this occasion, Richard, I don't know if have you ever played a kazoo?
A long time ago.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So I'm going to give you a song. You've got to play the song. We're going to have a guest in the room. Obviously, don't tell us if we're right. And then we're going to let the listeners have a listen as well. And then send in your suggestions on the socials and whatever, and your guesses at what you think this song might be.
So he plays it on the kazoo.
He plays the song on the kazoo. I've not tuned it. And then, let's see what happens.
I can't even remember how to play a kazoo.
There's no buttons on it.
I think that's the right way around.
It's the other way.
Where's it?
The other way.
I think
It's that way.
It's not. It's the big way.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, you hum into it.
Where's it been?
Hum into it. I can't tell you that. I think it's the big way.
No,
Hum
I don't
into
think
it.
it's
Thin way.
Yes, have a go.
Thin
Hum
way.
into it.
Oh, here we go.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So it's the big end. Right. So don't tell us the song type. Obviously, I've seen it.
So you can't take part, can you,
I've
Mark?
got playing a section of that for people to have a guess at. Do you need some binoculars?
I've got that.
You got it?
I've got that.
Right. So
don't know.
any section, and then.
Here we
But
go.
but don't tell us if we're right or wrong, and we'll let the listeners have a go as well. Here we go.
Here we go.
Drum roll.
I'll just do that again.
Yeah, I would.
I'm just trying to remember the song.
Well, it's written down on that card. If you
I know,
don't
but I can't remember.
You don't know the melody, the tune.
That's
No.
it,
Oh,
yeah.
crikey. You've given me a hard one here, Mark.
It's not an hard one, though. It's just on tip of my tongue and I can't get it out.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's as much as you're going because I can't remember that second bit.
Give it one more time.
One more time.
Well,
Is it Frank Sinatra?
Close.
so there's £1 million on the line.
Careful what you say. There's not really.
Yeah.
Right, well, if any listener has any idea of what Richard's just played on that kazoo,
The answer will be no. No one knows what that is. No.
I'm a better person
no
than I
one
am.
knows.
And we reveal the answer next week, yeah?
we'll definitely reveal the answer next week.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, on that fine note,
Absolutely.
It's been a
Listen,
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
It has.
Thank you very much
Yes,
again for your
thank you,
time.
Richard.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
coming along.
cheers, mate.
Thank you.
It's okay to talk.
See you, boys.
Cheers.
It's all right.
Bye-bye.
Do you have a dilemma? Maybe a burning question you're longing to be answered? Or or you just want to get in touch with us, why not drop us a voice note or a message over email at innthechat@gmail.com. That's 2 N's, not 1 N, because 1 N, it doesn't matter. innthechat@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.